Listen Up with Jim Potts. Listen up, business owners, CFOs, human resource managers, and all managers and supervisors. Jim Potts is answering and addressing your questions and concerns, helping you stay out of court. Furthermore, please be advised that Jim's answers are not legal advice and are only intended as a guide based on his years of experience. The phone lines are open. 1-855-4-J-POTS. That's 1-855-457-6887. You can also email us at listenup@jameswilliampottsllc.com. Ready to listen up? Here is Jim Potts.
Jim Potts back on the air. Well, I hope you took some information that I gave you in the last segment. We're able to use that to your benefit. Today we're going to talk about an email that I received. And the email I received was from a woman that says, my employer wants to let employees bring pets to work. I don't like the idea. And do you have any thoughts on the matter? And the information you could give me or opinions you could give me would be greatly appreciated. Well, you know what? I did a little research on that, and let's talk about some things. You got to understand, first of all, that there are certain pets, if you will, that are considered, and I know the word pets, can be loosely defined in some respects, but let's remember that there are service dogs out there also that people need. Seeing eye dogs, occupational therapy animals, military operations dogs. These are all domestic companions, and they do wear different hats in people's lives. Now, I'm sure we've all been at a restaurant where here comes somebody with a dog, especially if it's an outside restaurant. Sometimes these people with their dogs. Sometimes, look, I got to scratch my head, and they want to say that, oh, yeah, this is a service dog. I don't know how we really know that they're a service dog per se. But I will tell you, this business about pets at work has been dealt with. Study after study has proven how pets have a calming effect on our bodies and our minds. Now, I do believe that to a certain degree. They help children with ADD focus better. They can reduce blood pressure and lower stress. And how pets in the workplace make employees, they say, more creative. They make them more productive, and they're cordial to each other. And how there's such awesome additions to the workplace environment. Now, to me, that's a statement by a pet lover, because there's other points of views regarding animals in general. Now, I know there are certain businesses out there that actually let employees bring their pets to work, and they're not necessarily service animals. They just let them bring their pets to work. Now, Google, Zynga, Ben & Jerry's, there's a number of them that say, hey, you could take your pet, bring your pet to work. Okay. I want to give you a different perspective, because I guarantee you that's the perspective of pet owners or animal lovers. And I don't need to be getting any emails from Peter and all these different people about how I don't like animals. I do like animals. So let me make that just clear right now. Now, there's a different side of this coin. When you start bringing pets to work, you're not taking into consideration people at work that may have an allergy to pet hair. Yeah, it happens all the time. Cats, dogs, etc. And don't start talking to me about birds and pigs, all right? Because I'm not, I'm talking about the general one. Now, they say that the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America pegs the future of Americans with one form of pet allergy or another at 15 to 30% of the total population. Now, some of these allergies are so severe that they cause rashes, temporary breathlessness, panic attacks, and even severe respiratory disorders. You see, nobody takes the time to find out if it's okay to bring pets to work. Does anybody, in fact, have a pet allergy? Now, there's another issue. Forget the allergies for a moment. There are people that are just plain, genuinely scared of animals in general. And they're going to feel stressed out with having them around. Now, we raised dogs. I didn't have an issue with dogs, but there's people in my life that don't necessarily like dogs because maybe they had a bad experience, and they're always afraid that they're going to be bitten. So there's always this feeling of being afraid to have them around. Now, The other thing we have to understand is that the experience I know of businesses that let pets go, people bring pets to work, is that they give them free reign. Yeah. They get to walk all around like they're one of the boys, like they're one of the girls. And, once again, there are people who feel threatened by that. Now, you got to understand that although free reign of workplace can be a source of entertainment, because sometimes people are all tickled by this, at the end of the day, every pet is an animal that cannot truly be held accountable for its action. As my wife Brenda would say, when somebody says the animal doesn't bite, she likes to say, well, how do you know that? They say, well, I just know. So Brenda always says, well, if they could tell me that they like the color blue or something of that nature, so if they can actually speak and tell me things like that, then I can hear it from them that they don't basically bite. But you're never going to know. Now, there's unforeseen situations that could happen that makes even the most docile pet feel threatened, and that could cause it to attack someone. How many times have you heard that? I don't know why my dog reacted that way. He's never done that. She's never done that. You must have done something to him. You must have done something to her. Who knows what could set a pet off? So even though many industries by their very nature, may not be able to have pets there. Let's take a look at, places that handle food. How can you bring a dog into a place that handles food? Which is what the issue I have with restaurants. The pharmaceutical companies, medical facilities. These are all places where, in fact, pets, they should not be there. Now, I'm not claiming that they're, covered with germs or fleas or any of the rest of this, but there could be issues to that, and that definitely turns people off. So, even though the pet lovers are out there, they like it, they don't have a problem with it. Maybe there is some issue about productivity, etc. But the work environment is still a work environment. Even if you go back to what I talked about last week, it's supposed to be a secure environment. Or having pets there going to vary that. Now, look, let's talk about the laws about such things. Because people sometimes put up a sign, beware of dog. Now, I used to teach this in some of my classes, some of my civil liability classes that I would talk about, civil litigation classes. And they put up a sign saying, beware of dog. Well, if the dog bites somebody, then the person that gets bitten can say you were aware that this dog had, tendencies to bite people. If you don't put the sign up and the dog bites somebody, the person can always say, I didn't know that they would bite somebody. So having those signs up is not necessarily always the best thing to do. Now, the law, by the way, is not always going to be litigation friendly. The law requires employers to allow service dogs for employees only if they have a proven disability. And now that's opening the floodgates and could invite litigation. Now look, there are certain businesses. I had a hotel client once that called me because their clerk did not know that the hotel had to let service dogs, so when somebody checked in if they had a service dog, because they had a no pet policy. So there was a woman that came in with a service dog. The clerk, in fact, wouldn't let her register with a service dog. So she got very upset, and as a result of that, she wrote a letter. I was asked to kind of help out, mediate the situation. The woman hadn't filed the lawsuit, but she was extremely upset. So we were able to resolve the matter because she was from out of state, but she traveled to California frequently. And they had promised her on her next 3 stays that she would not have to pay anything for her stays, and she could have her service dog. Now look, even in the case of service animals, though, the law only allows well-trained, housebroken, and even-tempered pets to accompany their owners to places of work, thus preventing potentially threatening environments for coworkers of people with disabilities. Now, my only issue with that is, once again, here's that animal roaming around. They're at work, and I can hope that, in fact, that animal is potty trained, we'll call it. Because otherwise, now you're creating a very uncomfortable environment for people as well. Now people have to start watching where they're stepping. Now, The realities also, the arguments are, having animals at work is a distraction. Because why? People are doing what? Looking at the animal, isn't it cute? Wants to pick them up, wants to do this, wants to do that, instead of doing the job that they're supposed to be doing. So to me, there's a downside to being able to have this. One is the allergies. Two is the dangerous propensities. Oh, actually, there's three, because then the third one, of course, is the distraction. And arguably, I know some people say it increases productivity, but I just don't see that. It only increases productivity possibly for the animal lover, but it doesn't do it for the people that every time the dog shows up and sitting there staring at them when they turn around and they jump out of their skin because they're afraid of the animal. Now, I have to tell you, we've had these situations about pets. I've seen it go both ways. To answer your question in your email, should they be allowed to let you? Well, those are the parameters. If the business owner is a pet owner, he wants to be able to do it. He runs the risk for the reasons why I stated, of either somebody getting an allergic reaction, the pet actually biting somebody, etc. So, are they allowed to do it? It's their place of business. They're allowed to do it. There's no law against it. So, I hope I've answered your question the best I can. I've given you some different parameters. All right, with that last comment, it's time to close out this segment. But let me remind you, you can also hear us on Facebook at Listen Up and subscribe to us on iTunes. Just look for Listen Up with Jim Potts. And as a reminder, we take calls every third Friday. You can reach us at 855-4J-POTS or 855-457-6887. You can email us. Listen up at JamesWilliamPottsLLC.com. Okay, I'm Jim Potts. I'll continue to fight the fight, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for being a part of Listen Up with Jim Potts. We take your calls every third Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for your questions and concerns. Call us at 1-855-4J-POTS. That's 1-855-4J-POTS. Again, that's every third Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time at 1-855-4J-POTS. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes, and link up with us on LinkedIn. You can also email us at listenup@JamesWilliamPottsLLC.com. Until next time, make it a great week.